You can buy a computer today that performs billions of operations every second. It can generate images, translate languages, and simulate entire worlds. Yet somewhere tonight, someone will switch on a beige machine from 1982, wait for a blue screen, type a command, and feel that something important has just begun. But the real answer is far stranger than nostalgia. The Commodore 64 is still alive because it never became only a computer. It became a place where millions of people first discovered that a machine could respond to their imagination. A place where games, music, met as imagination. A demo does not need to increase productivity. A new game does not need millions of players. A CD tune does not need an algorithmic audience. The work can exist because the challenge was beautiful, and that may be the most modern thing about the Commodore 64. In a world where technology constantly asks what can be scaled, monetized, automated, and replaced, this old machine asks a smaller question: what can you make with what you have? 64 kilobytes, a place where millions of people first discovered that a machine could respond to their imagination. A place where games, music broke, screens fullest demoning between intention and result. You had time to wonder what the computer was doing. You learned that software had structure, storage had limits, and mistakes had causes. Even when you did not understand the electronics, the machine felt knowable. That feeling is rare today. Psychologist Albert Bandura used the term self-efficacy to describe the belief that you can influence events through your own actions. On the C64, self-efficacy could begin with something as small as changing a screen color or printing your name 10 times. You typed a line. The machine obeyed. You changed the line. The machine behaved differently. The lesson was immediate. This world has rules, and you can learn them. For many people, that was the first moment a computer stopped being a mysterious appliance and became a material for thought. The built-in basic language helped create that relationship. It appeared the moment the computer started. There was no account to create, no development environment to install, no license to accept, and no tutorial blocking the screen. The computer waited for you. You could type a program from a magazine, make a spelling error, receive a cryptic message, and spend an hour searching for the missing character. That does not sound efficient. It was educational, precisely because it was not efficient. The C64 taught attention. It taught persistence. It taught you to look closely. And then there were the games. Thousands of commercial programs appeared for the machine. Some were arcade conversions. Others became original classics built around the C64's particular strengths and weaknesses. The graphics chip offered hardware sprites, scrolling, raster control, and 16 colors. The SID chip offered 3 voices, multiple waveforms, filters, and forms of modulation that gave the machine a sound unlike almost anything else in the home. But the chips did not give programmers unlimited freedom. They gave them constraints: 8 hardware sprites, a limited color system, a processor running at roughly 1 MHz, memory that had to be shared, hidden, moved, and reused. These restrictions should have killed creativity. Instead, they organized it. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi flow as a state of deep involvement that appears when skill and challenge meet at the right level. The Commodore 64 became a flow machine, because its limits were severe, spittiers but understandable. A goal always sat just beyond reach. Could you display more than 8 sprites? Could you scroll more smoothly? Could you place color where the hardware said color should not go? Could you make the border disappear? Could you play sampled speech through a sound chip never designed for it? Each limitation became a question. Each question became a trick. Each trick became shared knowledge. This is where the Commodore 64 stopped being a product and became a culture. Programmers discovered that precisely timed code could change hardware registers, while the television beam was drawing the picture. By racing the raster line, they produced effects that seemed impossible, according to the official documentation. The machine had rules. The scene learned how to bend them. That practice grew into the Demoscene. Programmers, graphic artists, and musicians creating non-interactive audiovisual demonstrations designed to show technical skill, artistic identity, and group pride. A demo is not simply a program. It is a performance for a machine. It says, "You thought this computer had already shown you everything. But watch this." Decades later, new C64 demos still appear. They use modern cross-development tools, emulators, cartridges, memory expansions, and precise documentation. But the final work still has to confront the old processor, the old video timings, and the old restrictions. That combination is powerful. You can use a modern computer to build for an ancient one. The workshop has changed. The canvas has not. Media scholar Henry Jenkins has written about participatory culture, where audiences do not remain passive consumers, but create, remix, teach, archive, and distribute their own work. The C64 community embodied that ideal long before social platforms gave it a name. People swapped discs. They mailed printed instructions. They formed groups. They published magazines and disc magazines. They created music collections, graphics tools, cracks, intros, trainers, demos, games, and utilities. Knowledge moved socially. The machine survived because no company controlled its entire meaning. When Commodore collapsed in 1994, the official future of the C64 ended, but the unofficial future had already been running for years. Owners repaired their machines. Developers documented chips. Collectors preserved software. Emulator authors recreated the system in code. Hardware designers built modern storage devices. Video solutions, replacement chips, cartridges, accelerators, and FPGA implementations. The company died. The ecosystem refused to that. Distinction explains why nostalgia alone is not enough. Many old products are remembered warmly. Very few remain active creative platforms. You may feel nostalgic for an old television, but you rarely compose new work for it. You may remember a cassette player, but you probably do not spend months discovering undocumented ways to transform its output. The C64 is different because it is both memory and instrument. A guitar from 1982 is still a guitar. A C64 from 1982 is still a programmable computer. It can still receive new instructions. It can still surprise you. Sociologist Sherry Turkle has described evocative objects as things that carry ideas, emotions, and personal histories. The C64 is unusually evocative because it connects several versions of you at once. The child who played the T-Biz, the copied code, the lot who now understands what the machine was doing. When you return to it, you are not simply revisiting an object. You are revisiting an unfinished relationship with technology. Perhaps you once wanted to write a game, but never did. Perhaps you stared at a demo and could not imagine how it worked. Perhaps you heard a SID melody and remembered the exact room, the exact television, and the exact person sitting beside you. The machine stores none of those memories, yet somehow it retrieves them. This is nostalgia, but not nostalgia as passive longing. Cultural theorist Svetlana Boym distinguished between forms of nostalgia that try to rebuild a lost home and forms that reflect on longing itself. The living C64 scene often does both. It restores original hardware, but it also creates things that never existed in the 1980s. New games arrive on cartridge and disc.